What?
This is where our noise is gonna come from.
Yeah, listen to that. That's all right.
Okay.
Okay, here I am, just your basic white guy. Well, here we are in the men's room at the office.
Just get used to the whole idea and
No.
try it. Just for a second, you know? Don't even have to go very far, but.
Okay.
Say a few words.
Okay. I'm in the men's room at my office, and typically in offices, the men's room is where male bonding takes place, and
So to speak.
oh, I was gonna get a drink of water.
Oh, okay.
Wes, you can leave it running. I noticed that. Okay. Damn, where's my comb? Hi. Here we are in the men's room at my office, and the men's room's kind of an interesting place. It's where the guys go when they want to get away, and sometimes they sit here and have conversations and things like that. About a year and a half ago, I got a promotion into the marketing department, which is a department that the chairman of the board is pretty fond of, and so it's kind of a status type thing. And one of the things that happened as part of making this move is that people treat you differently, and I noticed deference being accorded to me, and interestingly enough, at the same time, I became more assertive, and so let me start over. Hi. As you can see, I'm in the men's room at my office. And the men's room's kind of an interesting place. Excuse me. Typically, it's where the guys go, you know, to bond with one another. Some kind of interesting things happen here. You know, about a year and a half ago, I was promoted into the marketing department, which is a department that's a favorite, let's say, of the chairman of the board, because he used to run it, you know. So when you move into the marketing department, you have this kind of hierarchical thing which happens, and you notice that you know, people start treating you differently. There's deference that's accorded. You change the way that you behave because, you know, you start to assert yourself. You say, I want this, I want that, you know. It's like kind of being a 4-year-old again or something. At any rate, about 2 weeks after I started working in the marketing department, kind of an interesting thing happened. I went to the men's room, just like we are now, and I went in there to like, you know, mess with my tie because I really wasn't happy with the way that the knot looked, because I was, you know, wearing this button-down collar shirt, and I don't really like button-down collar shirts because you see how this kind of bows out, and I've got this short neck, and it looks kind of funny, but I got a really good deal on it. And you know, one of the things I noticed when I first started working in the marketing department is that the guy that I worked for wore these button-down collar shirts almost exclusively. And you know, one of the things about being at the office is that you try to fit in. You know, you wear what other people wear, and you know, you do what they do, and they all go golfing together and bowling and, you know, all this other kind of stuff. At any rate, there I was in the men's room, and standing next to me was Jack, this guy who's like our senior vice president and treasurer, and he's in there getting a shave. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, one of the things that happens is, you know, you have these guys that they shave twice a day because they feel like, you know, 5 o'clock shadow will make them look like criminals or something. And, you know, if they're working late, they don't want to have this kind of haggard look. And of course, they always work late because, you know, you have to work a lot of hours in order to prove that you're, you know, gung-ho and you're going to, you know, get ahead and all that kind of stuff. So at any rate, Jack is sitting there shaving, and, you know, I thought just to make conversation, I'd say, so yeah, you know, I'm a twice-a-day man myself, ha ha ha, you know, type thing. And a kind of a weird thing happened, and that is that Jack actually laughed. And the reason this was weird is that, you know, I'd been working for the company for about 10 years, and Jack really never even talked to me. But, you know, here we were in the men's room, and, you know, I'm in the marketing department now, so, and he's, you know, treasurer, and they're in the executive area, and so, you know, you can talk to one another. At any rate, you know, he was kind of watching what I was doing, and I was just kind of, you know, messing around with this damn thing. And I said to him, you know, what the problem is that I just came in here to fix my tie. I just don't like the way that, you know, the knot looks with it. And he says to me, well, you know, you should start, you know, if you're going to tie a Windsor knot, you got to start it lower. So he picks up the ends of my tie, and, you know, I was kind of facing him like this, and he starts showing me that, you know, you bring one first level over, and then you kind of bring this over, And that's not right. See, I'm not very good at these kinds of things. Bring this over, and this over, and you kind of, bring this around, and it's a full Windsor knot. It makes a kind of a triangular shape, and did that pretty well. He says that's how you get a sharp looking tie. Well, that doesn't look too bad, does it? At any rate, that you have that knot, you got to make sure that you don't confuse it with a half Windsor, which of course you just bring this around once and flip this over. Prince Charles, wears a half Windsor a lot. And it looks kind of like that. It's not quite so triangular. It's got a nice look to it. At any rate, while all of this was happening, my boss, Bill, who's the senior vice president, and the director of marketing walks in, he looks, sees what's going on, and, he jumps back and says, "What are you doing? You don't wear a Windsor knot with a button-down collar shirt. You should wear a double four-in-hand." So he comes over, and he whips me around, faces me towards the mirror, and then puts his arms around me and starts, showing me how to do this double four-in-hand, which basically, now let's see, goes, you just kind of wrap it around, and then you wrap it around again, and you kind of bring it through, and push it down like this. Make sure it doesn't get all bunched up. Then he says the other thing you got to do is make sure that you bring it up tight, because that gives you the kind of tubular look, and that doesn't look too bad, does it? Now you have to make sure that you don't confuse that knot with your traditional four-in-hand, which you just kind of do this. This is the knot that women typically use, because nobody ever taught them how to tie a knot, and so then their ties are always got this thing hanging down like this, and of course the guys all think it's pretty funny. But at any rate, there I am in the men's room with not one but two senior vice presidents, at their salaries, giving me tie-tying lessons, and I thought, boy, this is really bizarre. So I said, what's next? Shoe shines? At any rate, since that incident, I've kind of, for a while, I started using different ways of wearing the ties, just because I was, into this newfound knowledge. And, like a Countess Mara tie, or one of these Italian silk ties, just the single double or the single four-in-hand, look pretty good. And if you're wearing a spread collar and you got like one of those English knit ties where the fabric's a little heavier, the half Windsor looks real good. And there are some ties that you want that triangular shape and they're not real heavy. So the full Windsor is like really, a pretty nice knot. Although I found that, Bill was really right. With a button-down collar shirt, there's, really nothing like the good old double four-in-hand. So, as a matter of fact, kind of an odd thing happened. The very next day, this guy, showed up. See, that's too long. You have to have him be just right like that. He shows up at the office wearing a spread collar shirt and a double four-in-hand, just to demonstrate to me the versatility of this knot. And also, like a couple days later, I saw Jack in the hall, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, nice tie." And I thought, Jesus, what is this? These guys are you know, I thought they were all business, but it turns out that really, you know, show is pretty important. Boy, I am just not getting that very well, am I? At any rate, one of the things that I did after this whole thing was I started noticing what it was that people were wearing in their neckwear treatments and things like that. And I found out that basically the double four-in-hand with the button-down collar was the, there we go, neckwear treatment of choice for the guys at the office who see themselves as being on the move. So I thought, well, you know, if I want to be on the move myself, I'd better do the same thing because, you know, being part of the crowd and not standing out, being a C student essentially is where it's at in business because you know, you don't want to do too good of a job because then people think that you're trying to show them up and stuff like that. So at any rate, I thought, well, hey, you know, that's the life for me. Geez, that looks pretty good, eh? Get that hair down a little. So, there you have it. Just your basic white guy.
I mean, it's alright.
The idea